Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fatherless Sons. My name is LaShawn Wiley, and I am your host. And this is episode 106. On today's episode, we will go over goal setting under the segment of building your empire. Under the next segment, Couch Time, we'll be talking a little bit about investing in yourself. And stick around towards the end so that you can see today's episode reveal of Fatherless and Famous and who I selected. I think it'll be a lot of fun, so be sure to stick around towards the end. Before I jump into today's episode, I want to remind everyone to go out and get a copy of Echoes of a Fatherless Son. That is the inspiration to this channel, and it was penned by yours truly, LaShawn Wiley. It's available in 4 different formats, and if you enjoy listening, go ahead and get the audiobook. It's read by Doug Eisengrind. He did a really good job reading the book. So go ahead and pick it up. You can get it on Amazon. And like I said, it's in 4 different formats. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode. We're going to start with building your empire. And today's topic under building your empire is goal setting. And I want to really emphasize the importance of setting realistic goals. So some people think that it's a nerdy thing to do to actually set goals, or it's a waste of time, but it is not a waste of time. It's something that actually works. It has been proven scientifically and statistically that people who have goals have a more likelihood of actually achieving what it is that they set out to do. Everyone in business knows that goals work. Any athlete that's out there knows that setting certain goals work. And whether you know it or not, you have probably achieved the goal that you focused on, you put a lot of attention to because it was something you really desired and didn't even realize that just thinking about it all the time is a form of setting a goal because you're driving towards that direction all the time. Now, when I was a life coach, I used to actually coach people on setting goals. That was, part of what I did as a life coach in order to make sure my clients were moving forward and moving towards what it is that they wanted to achieve and why they sought out to join up with a life coach in the first place. Normally, the job of a life coach is to help people move forward and move towards goals and achieve goals because sometimes people get stuck in life. So part of what I would do is help them formulate a goal using structure to make sure that the goal was something that they could achieve. Now, and this is known in the business world as well. There's a format that I would use that I'm going to share today that I want you to do when it comes to like setting your goals, because you have to have goals set. They have to be written down and they have to be set. Don't just aim to the dark without a roadmap saying that you're going to go somewhere and be something when you don't really have anything outlined as to what it is you're trying to do. So I would tell my clients to use the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T, to set their goals. And in the business world, is known as SMART goals. Okay. So the S in SMART goals stands for specific. The M stands for measurable. The R stands for relative, and the T stands for time sensitive. So let's go over all of those right now in a little more detail. Specific, it needs to be specific. You can't just say, I'm going to be rich. No, you have to be a little more specific than that. You have to say, by the end of this year, my target is to hit this much money. That is specific. So you want to be specific about what it is that you can be held accountable to, because at the end of whatever duration time period that you set for yourself, you either did what you set out to do or you didn't. So that's how you know it's specific enough. If you can hold yourself accountable to it, or better yet, have someone else hold you accountable to it. When you come up with your goals, share your goals with your loved ones or with your relatives, your family, whomever. Share it with someone and ask them to help hold you accountable to the specific goal that you set for yourself. Measurable, the M. Measurable is just like it sounds. It needs to be something that you can actually measure, something that is specific enough to say, I said I would do X, and either I did X or I did not. For example, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds in 2 months or 6 months or whatever the period is, your goal is to lose 10 pounds and you weigh yourself at the beginning. You either lose 10 pounds or you don't. I mean, it's measurable. You either do it or you don't. So make sure your goal is something that can be measured. Okay. The A is achievable. Now, this one I kind of fight with a little bit, but I understand the necessity of your SMART goal being achievable. It needs to be something that you believe that you can actually achieve. It has to be realistic. It can't be, one day I'm going to learn how to fly and sprout wings. That doesn't make any sense. It's not achievable at all. Or I'm going to make $1 million by the end of the year, and it's already July. I mean, come on. There's no way that that's realistic or achievable. So I think the key ingredient here is you have to believe that this is something that you can achieve. Now, the reason that I kind of fight with this one is because I also do another style of goal setting, which is called stretch goals. And stretch goals, some of the goals may not even seem realistic when you set the goal out. But in the future, we can talk about stretch goals. Right now, we're just talking about SMART goals. Okay, so let's jump to the R. R is relative. It needs to be appropriate to your life and what's going on in your life and your overall arching goal that you're trying to achieve in your lifetime. So, for example, maybe you want to open your own business one day. And in order to open your own business, your SMART goals is to get a license for your new business by the end of the next 2 months. And that's going to require you going to some appointments and filling out some paperwork, etc. But setting a specific goal to get this paperwork is relative to your overarching plan, which is to open up your own business one day. So make sure it makes sense, that it's appropriate, it fits, it belongs. Don't just make random goals that really don't mean anything to you, because those would be the first goals that you're going to drop and not follow through with. And the last one is T. T is time sensitive. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. Make sure you have a schedule, put a time clock on it. That will, push you and motivate you to get it done, and it'll keep you on task when you want to daydream, when you want to procrastinate, or you say, I have time, I can get to it later. But what happens when that clock starts to run out? You refocus, you're re-energized, and you try to get it done. So you have to have a time clock on it, and make the time clock something realistic, but something that's going to keep you focused and keep you moving forward. I would say do not go beyond 12 months, because after 12 months, you're talking about something else. It's like a long-term goal. Okay. So that's really what I wanted to focus on building your empire, is setting your goals. Everyone who tunes in to this channel will have all the tools that they need to become very successful in life. And goal setting is one of those foundational things that you just have to have and be good at. So you have to be able to set goals, and you must set goals. One last thing I'll say about setting goals is look into a vision board. A vision board would keep you centered and focused on your goals. And a lot of successful athletes and successful business people, they use vision boards. So if you don't know what a vision board is, I'll throw an example of one up on the screen so you can take a look. Go ahead and take a look at that, do some research on it, and put together your own vision board. Have fun putting it together. Use it. Don't skip that step when it comes to goals, because vision boards work. When I used to coach, that was one of my homework assignments that was mandatory, that my clients will have to show me the vision board that they put together. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next segment, which is couch time. Couch time is also one of my favorite segments, actually, because we get to really, focus on the things that people kind of overlook. I get to share some conversations that I've had with some of my mentees and just people that I have coached in the past, and even my own family members. So today's focus on couch time is investing in yourself. And this is one of those things that I think sometimes we think that it means automatically going to school and investing in learning something new at school or in a class or a trade, etc. But I want to kind of present it a little bit differently. I want to put a twist on it, which is investing in yourself not only means education, but it also means putting your money where your mouth is. Money. Okay. And it's also believing in yourself, belief. So time, money, and belief. Those are the three things that you want to think about when it comes to investing in yourself, because I think you should invest all three. When it comes to money, put your money where your mouth is and, raise that capital believe in the plan that you're trying to execute, and then pull the trigger and spend the money. Especially if it's like a lot of money, that could be very scary. I remember I took a loan out on my home when I used to live in California. Now I live in upstate New York. But when I lived in California, I took out a loan so that I could build my own recording studio and open it up to the public. And it was very scary because it was a lot of money on the line for me at the time. The most money that I've ever invested in myself. And luckily, I could say that it was a successful venture. I'm glad I did it. But at the time that I was doing it, it was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. But that was a capital investment in my beliefs, my ability, and believing in me and my ideal. When it comes to time, that could be education, that could be learning, but it can also mean time invested in where you're working right now. Like sometimes people just don't realize the value that they get from their employer when they're working a 9 to 5. If you work at Burger King's, for example, and maybe you're a manager, you just got promoted and you're a manager at Burger King. Well, you work that job for a few years, you're going to walk away with some lessons. You're going to learn how to manage people, how to manage money, how to talk to people, how to handle customer complaints, and maybe even a little bit of profit and loss management. You're going to learn a lot of things working that job as a manager. So that could be any fast food place. That could be working at Starbucks coffee. You're getting something as long as you stick with it. Don't just go in, punch the clock and do your job like a zombie. Take what you can take and look at that as you investing in yourself. You're learning something, even at the job. Okay. The last one is belief. Belief is a tough one for a lot of people because sometimes people around you, including people you love, including family members, will not believe in you or your ideal. And you have to kind of just be obsessed with your own ideal and yourself and your belief in yourself. If you wait for validation from the next person, especially if that next person is negative, you may never get it. So be careful of the friends you surround yourself with, people that will, try to talk you out of doing something or just be negative. That ideal is not going to work. There's already a lot of people who already did that ideal, and now you're trying to be, the 100th person to do it. You're a fool for wasting your time and your money. You don't need those kind of people. I don't care if this person is your spouse or your loved ones, your parent even. It doesn't matter if the person is being a negative Nancy. Sorry for anyone who's named Nancy out there, but if they're just being totally negative, you need to think hard about if you really want to share those plans and your ideals with that person, because maybe you just shouldn't. Maybe you should keep it to yourself, believe in yourself, share with maybe someone who is positive so that they can help hold you accountable for moving towards that goal. If it doesn't work, don't beat yourself up, pick yourself up and try again. Okay. That's just part of being an entrepreneur. You have to, start over and try a different idea if the first doesn't work. All right, let's go to our next segment, our last segment today, which is Fatherless and Famous. Like I said before, it's one of my favorite segments. And let's talk a little bit about today's person who I selected. This is a man, it's a male. And I don't think that there's a big twist when it comes to the person I selected today as far as them being fatherless, because they're a sports figure. And to be honest, a lot of sports figures happen to be fatherless. Not all, but a lot. And you would notice in sports, especially when it comes to football and basketball, they are predominantly Black. And the athlete is normally raised by a mother, by herself. And that's the situation in the person that I selected today. So without any further ado, the name of the fatherless and famous today is LeBron James. I'm sure a lot of people knew that LeBron James, or King James as he liked to call himself, was fatherless. And I kind of suspected that he was fatherless. I didn't really hear him speak about it because I'm not like a crazy LeBron James fan that does all the research and know him and watch every game he plays. That's just not me, but he's a great athlete. He's a great ball player. And he, in fact, did grow up without a father figure ever being around in the house. Now, LeBron's mother, Gloria, raised LeBron by herself and had him when she was only 16 years old. She had him with a gentleman by the name of Anthony, who was 20 years old at the time that he got her pregnant and didn't really want anything to do with raising a kid. He was 20 years old himself. Like I like to call him a kid or a very young adult, but nothing compares to her age of being 16 by herself, having to move frequently and raise LeBron on her own. LeBron did have contact with his father when his father tried to re-enter his life, but by this time, LeBron wanted absolutely nothing to do with his dad. He basically said, I grew up in a household without a father and it made me stronger. It made me a better person. And thank you for not being around, Dad. Thank you for not choosing to be involved in my life because it made me who I am today, a stronger man. Now, LeBron has 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. The age of his boys is 19 currently and 21. Names of his kids is Bronny, Bryce, and Suri. And he has been in his kids' life, since they were born, which is great. He kind of wanted to break the cycle and he wanted to do all of the things that he missed out on by not having a father figure in a home. So he wanted to make sure he broke the cycle and was there for his kids. And they show up at basketball games with him and he's deeply involved in their life, going to sporting events that they're involved in. I know Zuri's involved in volleyball. Brownie plays in the NBA league. I'm not really sure about what Bryce does, but like I said, from the research that I was able to do, it looks like LeBron is involved in all of their lives. So nice job. I love that. Love to hear that we're breaking the cycle. Now, Gloria, his mother, was always in his corner. And when he became very successful, I was pleased to hear that he made sure that she was set up in a really nice home, a 5-acre, 4,000 square foot home that had 3 beds, has 3 beds, 2.5 bathrooms. And it's now worth around $1.6 million, this home. So very exclusive, very private. Nice job, LeBron, looking out for moms and taking care of her. Now let's do what we always do on this show, which is talk about LeBron's net worth, because it is great to hear when a fatherless figure or someone who grows up in a fatherless home finds success financially and finds success in whatever it is that they focused on. And in this case, he focused on basketball. He was very successful in basketball, 4-time NBA champion. He is the first active billionaire playing in the NBA. So his net worth currently is $1.3 billion. Wow. I didn't know he was a billionaire. I really thought that he was probably at 400 or 500 million. I did not know he was a billionaire. So he obviously made some smart moves with his money. He invested in the right things and, was involved. He made the right moves. I won't doubt that he had a good team of financial advisors behind him in order for him to be the first league's billionaire that's actively playing in the game. So that's wonderful to hear. I love to hear those type of success stories. Great job, LeBron. And I like to hear from you if you have a story of someone in your family that is fatherless yet found success, even though they had to overcome a lot of adversity. I want to hear those stories. So go ahead and leave those comments in the comment section so that I can read every single one of them. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. That way I can get that thumbs up so that the algorithm recognizes these episodes and more people can see this content who's looking for it. Remember, if you have not already picked up a copy of the book, go ahead and pick it up. It's Echoes of a Fatherless Son, written by yours truly, LaShawn Wiley, found on Amazon in 4 different formats. So thanks for joining. I really appreciate you spending time with me, and I'll see you all next time.